Yeah, it's late and I'm live. So y'all know this shit ain't gonna be long. But I wanted to get this one out, man, before I even went to bed. Was thinking about it. Wanted to ask the question about it. How did anybody else feel about it? Once I told them what I was thinking. And I was thinking, what's up, Boogie? Boogie's the first one here. So I'm gonna address her. Oh, Boogie, I was thinking, I wonder if this nigga Pharoah been taking that money and putting it into street shit. Just pondering that. What up, y'all? What up, Wags? Triple CZs. Because now we know who he is and what he really is. And it's Shame TV, Derek Jones Talks Live, especially since this was the first name, my first page name. I have to apologize because I was warned about him. But at the time, like I said, and I told everyone, I openly said it, yo, I never seen him scam people. You know, like I never seen him do this, I never seen him do that. But now, yes, Triple C, yes, that's what I mean. Street shit. But I never seen him do shit until eventually it came out that he was indeed doing shit, the same shit. The same shit. So I let it be. I said, okay, this nigga's a fucking scam artist. I let it be. He get that work like everybody else do. There's a link in the chat, in the description of YK the Truth video or Young Pharoah Psychiatrist. Wonderful video. Please check it out. But listening to the video, it made me think, yo, you know, I was like, man, this nigga Pharoah is not doing nothing for nobody in no community nowhere. So let's just get that out there right there in the open. All right. This kid refuses, this man, grown-ass man, refuses to answer to why there's a logo that matches his logo and the catchphrase and or phrase attached to the logo is exactly identical to what he has been putting out and has touted as his own creation. All right, we already know all that shit. We already know you did. A lot of people did try to tell me that nigga was a fraud. The very first person to tell me was Posh Remy. Yes, grown man Pharoah. Posh Remy was the first one. Posh Remy said, anybody that you see hanging around Sonetta, she said 9 times out of 10, they are frauds and scammers. Everybody think he young because he's short. That's true, yo. That should get attached to him. So it's like she said it a long time ago. She was like, there's a few people who will be around him or around him because they don't really know no better. They just think he is what he says he is. He said the rest of the people, she said, excuse me, the rest of the people that you see around him all the time, with him all the time, saying how good he is and all that bullshit. She's like, yeah, all of them is hustlers. All of them. She was like, all of them are hustlers. They're lying. They're frauds. They'll say a whole bunch of smart shit in order to get in your pocket and get your credit card. And he was one of them. And when she said it, I was like, but he haven't shown me nothing, blah, blah, blah. She was like, I'm telling you. She said my name. She said, Derek, I'm telling you, he's a fraud. He's a little liar. He's a dirty little scammer and schemer. That's what she used to say. He's like a little schemer. She let me know about him. And damn if it hasn't turned out to be factual. So now that we realize what he is, let's look at this guy for example, okay? Excuse me for a second, all right? Let's examine him. How old is grown Pharoah now? About 26, going on 27, some shit like that. All right, this is 2018. All right. When Pharoah first started coming around and hanging around Sonetta, that was when? Around 2000, the polite years, 2014-ish and shit like that. So we talking about almost 5 years ago. All right. So that's when Pharoah pretty much really hit the scene as far as being known for everybody else. Excuse me, is known like everyone else. Meaning Pharoah had his own following, but he still wasn't known to everybody in the community until Sonetta put him on. Then his platform, which he already had, crossed over to a whole new group of people. That's why his subscriptions shot up. Even video views shot up. Even though he ended up beefing with Sonetta and them in the end. But the point is, that puts this dude, when he came out, about 21, 20 to 21, 22 years old. So, what was he doing before that point? What was he doing before 21, 20 years old? We already know that now, right? Everyone knows that this nigga was running around in the streets up in Buffalo, claiming to be a little tough Buffalonian, whatever they are, Buffonian, Flonian, being a tough little guy in Buffalo. Buffalo might even be official because, like I heard a nigga say, man, America, the whole America is a ghetto. And I believe that shit. What up, Salima? Norma's in the building. And I believe that shit. I believe that the whole America is a ghetto, that everywhere you go, nigga, you gonna find ghetto ass niggas and ghetto ass people, period. Just plain point blank, period. Don't care if you in Chicago, nigga, y'all don't have a monopoly on ghetto ass niggas. Cause I was about to say, nigga, you come right here in Boston, nigga, and I could show you some ghetto ass niggas. It's just the same as somebody in Miami could take me down there and show me some ghetto ass country ass niggas. The same way somebody in Texas can show me some ghetto ass niggas. Like, it's all over the place. You know what I'm saying? It's all over the place. But the point is, Pharoah is running the streets right now, you know what I'm saying? Was running the streets at that point. Basically, from his own testimony, in and out of the lockup. You know what I'm saying? In and out of jail, in and out of the lockup. So, with that being said, you were in the streets, G. Now, don't get it twisted and act like niggas don't understand what that means. And I mean on a deeper level, meaning, nigga, you ain't just, even niggas who change over, nigga, they don't just stop. Like, most niggas like myself, nigga, I was like, I still sell tree, nigga. Like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. So I'll still sell that. The part of me that still want to hustle to make extra money, nigga, the way like I always did. Like every small nigga, you in the streets, nigga. Yeah, don't get it twisted, nigga. I know when them people was sending you that money, man, we gotta start asking the question: was that money going right back to the streets, yo? Because apparently you haven't changed. Like whatever it is that you claimed you wanted to be and all that shit, you haven't changed, nigga. You the same nigga, and that SOS shit lets us know clearly that you the same fucking person. You the person that I was warned about, that I was warned about you being a schemer. A little sneaky ass schemer. Just like Nature Boy came out and said this shit about you. Nature Boy came out and said this shit about you. You ain't really want to fuck with Nature Boy because you probably ain't really want to fuck him. So since you ain't want to be gay with him, you just went ahead and bounced. But yeah, everybody gave this nigga a pass, man, because he like, nah, dog, like, and you came out trying to bang on Sarnetta hard. Now I know that was a ploy, nigga. That's why I said you niggas talk all that shit about Masons and masonry and all that shit, how they secretly doing this and secretly doing that. You niggas do a lot of secret tactics like Masons and motherfuckers who would be Masons or call Masons. Like you do a lot of strategic shit, which I had a video planned to drop whenever I feel like I want to actually drop it. I want the mood to be right on this whole power thing and the 10 steps to confidence and the 10 steps to controlling any room and, you know what I'm saying? Like all that bullshit. Like I said, that these people are reading these books, going to these guru seminars, and then they're coming out in the world acting like normal people to you, but they really trying to exact some 10-step program on how to control somebody to get what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. These are games that are being played on you. Fucking Pharoah Marshal is prime example of a person using those tactics on you. When the heat got cooking on that nigga, the very first thing he did was launch an attack on Sarnetta, launch an attack on Umar Johnson, launch an attack on the Moors. So that way he got everybody on his page galvanized and going in it back and forth in the chats with Moors. He got people going back and forth in the chat with Sarnetta people and all that shit like that. So you're not paying attention to the people over here waving, saying, ho, G, before you go on that exposing tour you going on. What up, Cole? You might want to start exposing yourself. And why the fuck that you have that this children's charity organization's logo is identical and the catchphrase and the phrase attached to it is identical to the one you had. And once found out and questioned, you removed it. So niggas need to know that shit before you try moving on with shit. So the fact that this nigga is doing this shit and he refuses to even speak about that shit lets me know that, nigga, when you getting this money from these people, are you putting this money in the streets, yo? Or are you putting this money into the people? Are you still hustling drugs in your community, Pharoah? Marshal? That's the question tonight. It's just a question. Are you still hustling drugs in your community? Because I'm of the opinion that if you're gonna lie about the shit that we know that you lying about, or either the SOS people lying and all the other people are lying about that shit, which you know they're not, that's why you haven't addressed it. So we're gonna cut the shit on that and not pretend. If you're lying about everything else, bro, where does that shit end? If you ask someone like me, there is no ending to that shit. I think you'll go full tilt with it. You'll do whatever it takes. Why not? You're already doing that. So that makes the point be what? Nigga, you just got out of the streets or claim you got out of the streets. When you hit the scene, yo, you was like 21, 22 years old. You by your own admission, not anything I'm saying, by your own admission, you had just basically stepped out of the lockup. What did you step out of the lockup for? Were you in the lockup because you were trespassing? Were you in the lockup for domestic violence? Were you in the lockup for street shit, like selling drugs, shooting guns at niggas and shit like that? Most of the time, nigga, you even talked about that shit, about, you know, you and your man Mix and whoever. That's the shit you used to say all the time. I guess that was somebody used to run with or whatever, who not here anymore. How you used to run around and hustle and all of that shit. You think so? Now that we realize that you really are not genuine, let's examine you. Let's examine what you actually doing with the money you getting from the people. Because there is no daycare, and there never will be a daycare. There's no giveaways, and there won't be any giveaways. Especially something that's authentic, meaning something that's not staged. What up, Leonard? But we think you back in the streets with that money, G. Because your focus is really on that rap shit. And you know that how this conscious shit work, nigga. You know it's highs and lows, nigga. You know you could talk that I'm booked shit all you want. I'm booked. But you know it's highs and lows and all of this shit. It's peaks and valleys. You have some people at certain times and certain topics and certain things are going on. Yo, them people pages is popping and yours ain't. Hell, Israel Doctrine was like almost trying to claim the throne for a little while a couple weeks ago. Niggas was like, oh shit, is he? Even that fucking scumbag will have his day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens for everybody, yo. So you know you can't rely on YouTube like that. Not to fund all the shit you want to fund, not to fund a better lifestyle and fund this music shit and all that bullshit. So we asking the question, young Pharoah, have you went back to the streets with the people's money? All right, CZ. Are you back in the street with the people's money? Have you taken donations at any point? Taken donations and funded some street shit with that shit? Say you haven't done that not one time. You haven't bought nobody a couple pounds of tree, a few bundles, 5-6 zones or some banging soft. You mean to tell me when you was doing all them little lecture tour shits and getting money and coming back, you was we know you're not investing in anything, nigga. We know you're not investing in shit. Exactly. I'm telling you, yo, I know he is. I know he is. Because he's a filthy little nigga. Like, now that I see how he is, and you ain't got to be filthy to hustle. You know what I'm saying? But the type of nigga that we talking about right here, you nigga, yeah, you back in it. You've been doing that shit. I bet the entire time you've been talking this shit, you've been doing that shit. He invested in land. He invested in Buffalo land. That little corner he do them videos from his little block, his little hot block that he grew up on, his little hot block. He do his videos out there. He pretend like that's the hardest block in America where he was at. I wonder how many of these conscious dudes is literally selling crack to people. Let's think about that for a second, y'all. How many of these niggas do y'all think are really out here? Like, we ain't talking about no tree and none of that shit. All humans should have marijuana. I'm talking about diesel and crack, nigga. Like, how many of these conscious dudes do y'all think is out here really doing that shit? Like, literally selling niggas crack dealers. Cassetti even came out and said we should all sell some crack and buy some boats or land or some shit. That was Seti's plan. He needs to all come together and get some keys. This nigga said he wanted to sell niggas fucking, get niggas to be a real cartel and get fronted some work, nigga. Like, really, nigga? You want us to fucking sell crack to fund the revolution? Like, it kind of sounds to a nigga like me, like, I'd be like, I'm different from the average person because I look at shit different because I'm looking at, okay, first off, these niggas gonna smoke crack anyway, so you ain't about to stop that shit by not selling it to them. Like, nigga, they'll just go somewhere else and get that shit. So if you actually gonna take the money and do something prosperous with it, like, I don't know. It's just me personally, I couldn't really call myself out here helping the people and wanting to help the people, and I'm literally selling black people crack. Like, that just, personally, I wouldn't be able to make that happen. Not crack and heroin and shit. I couldn't make that happen. I couldn't do that one. I feel too much like a hypocrite. I feel way too much like a hypocrite. But I think a lot of these dudes out here is doing that shit, yo. I think a lot of these niggas out here is selling, is hustling, but we talking about one in particular. Has he left the street life alone for real? Is consciousness, again, just a cover for these dudes? These wannabe rappers, wannabe models, wannabe actresses and actors, wanna be the next Chris Brown singer. Goals of being some sort of TV producer. Pissy Frank is in the building. From the west side or the east side, or filthy ass Frank. Another one of his proteges. But I'm not keeping y'all long, man. It's late. A lot of y'all got to get up early. I don't. So, you know, it's I don't know, Frank. You got to leave that shit alone, Frank. You got a platform now, Sonetta. Can't still be fucking with The Rock, yo. You know what I'm saying? Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? That shit beige, nigga. But young Pharoah Marshal, whatever his name is, look for him to be changing his name shortly, too, to some weird-ass space name. He gonna change his name to one of the Anunnaki names or some shit. That's to further distance himself from black people. He wants to see if he can go full white see if he could get some polite money. But his problem is he's really kind of stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mean stupid in the sense of not being able to read and not being able to retain information and recite it and shit like that. Not like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, handle that shit for me, Frank. But not stupid in that sense, meaning, but Pharoah's stupid, meaning he can't really be in every room. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit was obvious when Inky and all them people surrounded him. And a person like me, nigga, like straight up and down, like if that had happened to me, if I was in his place, do you know how excited I would have been that these motherfuckers were all gonna team up on me, like mentally team up on me, and it was just my mental and my mouth to talk? You know how exciting that would have been for somebody like me? But for somebody like him, that was totally fucked up, yo. What up, what up? That was totally fucked up for that nigga. He could not handle no shit like that, dog. That nigga could not handle no shit like that, yo. That's why he was very adamant with Polite in the beginning, for Polite to not do no fuck shit, because he knows that he can't think on the fly like that. That's all. He can't think on the fly like that. That shit would have been nothing to eat. Because the fact is, them niggas are frauds. So all you have to do is remain on that point, no matter what they say. Whatever they say is like Charlie Brown adult talk. Wong, 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 wong. Nigga, I don't want to hear none of that shit until you're actually addressing real tangible shit. And if you're not going to address real tangible shit, I'm going to call you on it for not addressing real tangible shit, which is what I call deflection, which is intentional and it's willful. It's willfully trying to walk me down the street away from what's really going on, nigga. The fuck is wrong with you? And only deceitful people do that. See how deep it goes? It goes deeper than what you just see, man. Every action came from a thought, man. That means that thought was festering inside before it manifested on the outside. So when you see people do fucked up shit, yo, that's how they are, yo. They be thinking of a whole bunch of fucked up shit to do. It is what it is. So we realize that Pharoah is a fraud. Over here, we don't take that lightly. We say, if we find out you're a fraud, where does that end? We don't know where that ends. So since we don't know where that ends, we have to start examining that. Since you've been taking all this money, nigga, have you been funneling this money back into the streets? Or do you have work on the streets right now? Are you taking the people's money and having niggas buy heroin and fucking crack with it? Is that what you're doing with the people's money, Pharoah? Marshal? I believe that that's what you're doing with the people's money. The reason why I believe that that's what you're doing with the people's money is because you don't know nothing else to do. You do not know how to open no real business and set no business up and run that shit. Or at least have other people running that shit. There's like 4 different small businesses that you could have set up on the fly, nigga, and had people working them shits, gaining you your own monthly revenue that had nothing to do with YouTube, but you got the money from YouTube. You don't think like that, nigga. You taking that shit right to your little homeboys in the fucking streets, nigga, and you niggas is buying work with the people's money. You telling the people how much you out here trying to do the work and get daycares and all that shit like that, and how all the other older people were scamming you, you know what I'm saying? And being the fact that I'm not too much old, you know, I'm not old yet, I'm not gonna scam you, so give me your money. And the next thing you know, nigga, you got better clothes, you got more jewelry and shit like that. Now, a stupid nigga like him would try to stop the video on that point, on that clip when I said that, so he could try to make it seem like that's what it's all about. Oh, see, this nigga's jealous. These niggas are jealous of me because it's like, no, niggas, cut that bullshit, nigga. Address what I actually said, nigga. How did what I just say sound anything like jealousy, you fucking dumbass? Nigga, you said money was evil. So why is you taking the people's money and buying fresher clothes with them and fucking buying the people and buying jewelry and shit like that? Why are you doing that shit? With evil. You should be taking that shit. You should be the most poor, righteous, teacher ass nigga in the entire world. As much shit you talk. You talk shit about people, how they don't fight the police back, yet you willingly are cooperating with a parole order, which nigga, you know what that means, nigga. You still locked up. You just on the streets, and they tell you when you could go somewhere and when you can't. It's totally up to them. It's totally up to them if you get to go somewhere or not. What you mean it's up to them, Pharoah? You was talking shit to everybody else. Talking about slaves are slaves because they wanted to be. So you ain't on. Why you always asking people for money to help you get off of parole so that you could travel more? And what did you say? Fulfill your plans and destiny and all this bullshit like that. Nigga, you on parole because you want to be on parole, remember? Because you could just fight back and free yourself like you told everybody else. That's how I was like, yo, you dead from the get-go from all the shit you talk. And how you living completely opposite of that shit. But right now, we focusing on the money. We talking about the money, Pharoah. We talking about why. Why, Mr. Marshall? Why? Why must you be a fuckboy like everybody else? We talking about this money, man. We talking about funneling people's money. Do we have the first case of someone on YouTube funneling YouTube monies into drugs, into street shit? Because I don't think that you would stop doing that shit. That shit is addictive, nigga. Just like the people who use the drugs, it's addictive to the niggas who sell it because you know how easy it is to come up with a few $100, $1,000 right out of nowhere that you needed. Come on, man. You know that shit, Pharoah. Marshall. Are you funneling the people's money back into the streets? The people want to know. Derek Jones Talks Live.